Hare Krishna. So let us continue our discussion. So we'll be moving to the second chapter of the second canto. So in the first chapter, Parikshit Maharaj, in the verse number 22, Parikshit Maharaj asked two questions about dharana, means like right now it is the Parikshit Maharaj in a situation because Shukadev Goswami is famous all over the world that he never stays in one place. He only stays the time it takes to milk a cow, and means it almost like one muhurta, maybe at most like 45 minutes or 28 minutes. So and Parikshit Maharaj is very desperate. He doesn't want to waste his time asking some unnecessary questions or wasting time for what do you call um, like kushala prashna बोलते हैं ना in Telugu, means like just asking in formality questions. So he directly comes to the point. So and he asks about what is good for a dying person, and Shukadev Goswami started explaining. And at that point of time, Shukadev Goswami might also not be planning or to sit together for 7 days, but looking at the enthusiasm, looking at the dedication, looking at the inquisitiveness of Parikshit Maharaj, it is said that Shukadev Goswami has spent 7 days and 7 nights with him. But some devotees say that Shukadev Goswami is Sarvagya. He knows everything. He knows what's going to happen. So that's why he spent that much time also. So here, after listening to different angas of how Shukadev Goswami says how uh, one should focus on the one should take up the Ashtanga Yoga process for attaining liberation from this material world. So, and see why Shukadev Goswami has he should have directly started with the bhakti process. But when he starts with the bhakti process, and when some questions arises, when some context come about dhyana, about all these, if any uh, Ashtanga Yoga aspect comes in the middle, it will be a total disturbance. Mm. So, like that's why even Krishna also, when in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna started questioning, Arjuna started uh, asking questions. Krishna starts from Karma Yoga. First, he starts with mundane karmic activities, means how in the material world you will be defamed, your enemies won't think good of you if you don't fight. So he he starts from the level zero, where means what is materially good and what is materially bad. From materially good and materially bad state, then he takes to the karma yoga process, means perform your karma, doing karma is your duty, like that. And then from karma yoga, then he will take to dhyana yoga, gnana yoga process, and then finally he takes to the bhakti yoga. So in the same way here, along with Parikshit Maharaj, there are a lot of different sages from different parts of the world has assembled there, and among them not all of them are devotees. So if Shukadeva Goswami directly started very intimate pastimes or narrating the direct Bhagavad Katha about the Leelas of Krishna or pastimes of Krishna, they may actually lose confidence. Also, as when one occupies the position of a guru, then when others take a submissive position in front of him, he has to. It is his duty to take into consideration their level of consciousness and their level of understanding, and present the subject matter according them, and present it in such a way that they will understand nicely in a step by step manner. So Shukadev Goswami is also doing the same thing here. First, uh, he is telling famous Ashtanga Yoga process. He says, when Parikshit Maharaj asked what is the duty of a dying person, then Shukadev Goswami said, try Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga. Then he explains Ashtangas: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. And after that, Parikshit Maharaj asked one question: how dharana is accomplished? Dharana means focusing on the uh, s- uh, Lord's form as a whole. Means for like a person in dharana, he will have one pointed attention on the form of the Lord. Mm. So how dharana is accomplished, and what is bona fide dharanashraya means, like you can focus on any object. So what is bona fide object that we have to focus on, that he asked, and how to quickly remove the contaminations of the mind. So these three questions Parikshit Maharaj asked. So actually, Shukadev Goswami knows what is the best dharnashraya for, like there are different dharnashraya for different people. Some persons, they believe in the personal form of the Lord, and some persons, they don't believe in the personal form of the Lord. And some persons who believe in the personal form of the Lord, even though they believe the personal form of the Lord, but they are not completely pure enough to focus on them. So taking everybody into consideration, so Sukadev Goswami gives different options to different people in general. So means on whom you have to focus on your meditation. uh, So basically, as I said, for the persons who who believe that God has a form, and the persons who doesn't believe God has a form, these two people, for those who for actually those who doesn't believe in the God, that God has a form, are called Mayavadis, and they will be focusing on nothingness, or actually they use the form of the Lord to first develop the focus. Means like just like a child in the begin in the in just like a child in the beginning of when it tries to walk, somebody has to assist him, like like a father or mother. They have to give support and let the child walk for some time, and then afterwards when the child started walking, then child will give away the hand of the father, and it will walk by itself. That is the conception of Mayavadi philosophers. Means they take the help of the form of the Lord to develop the strength to focus. And then when they develop the strength to focus and they develop good dharana, then they give up the form of the Lord and focus on nothingness. And Krishna says that kind of people, they end up in hell, because until you trust that Lord can reciprocate through his form, like unless Lord has a form, how can he reciprocate? And Lord can reciprocate through his form. You will not be able to depend on the Lord. You will not be able to have, unless you have faith in Krishna as form. You will not have attitude, or you will not have the desire to serve Krishna's personal form. So serving Krishna's personal form is one of the aspect of bhakti. So until one accepts the personal form of the Lord, they will not have, they will not start their bhakti. Mm. So that's why in the verse number in Bhagavad Gita 9.11, Krishna says, Avajananti Mamuda Manushim Tanumasrita, means the foolish people, they think that I don't have farm, and I never had farm, and I assumed this farm. They don't even realize that my farm is eternal. So that kind of people, they cannot progress in yoga. At most, if they progress also, they will end up in hellish condition. And among the persons who has faith in the farm, there among those persons, there are two kind of people: the persons who are free from all the uh, enjoying mentality, and the persons who are not free from all the enjoying mentality. Means they are attached yogis and uh, unattached yogis. So for attached yogis means who are still who still have the desire to enjoy. So attached yogis, they are attached to the sense enjoyment. For them, the object of the meditation is different. And for unattached yogis, object of dharana or object of meditation is different. So for attached yogis, no, he's Shukadeva Goswami completely coming from the level 0. Okay, for attached yogis, first of all, if you don't believe in the form, you are out of context, you are gone. And second, if you are if you if you trust in the form of the Lord, then for them, if you are full of desires to enjoy, if you are full of you are attached to too much to sense gratification, you have to initially you have to focus on the Virat Rupa of the Lord. So that's why in the Sukadeva Goswami gives at the end of first chapter, he gives the planetary system, how the Virat Rupa can be seen in the planetary system. How Patala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Talatala, Sutala, Vitala, Atala, Mahatala, Bhurloka, Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Swargaloka. All these things, starting from Patala Loka is like bottom of the feet, Rasatala is heels of the toe, and Tapoloka is forehead, and Satyaloka is head. Like that means entire material creation is Lord's form himself. So by focusing on the material world and seeing this material world as seeing the Lord in this material existence is one way of focusing the person for the Virat Rupa of the Lord. And also further representation of limbs. And when you focus on the form of the Lord, then you will focus on the different limbs of the Lord. Means like, see, like when you take darshan, first you will see overall feature of the Lord. See how overall darshan how he is giving. Then when you have more time, you will focus on each limb, how each limb is decorated, how ankles are decorated, how tulsi is kept on the feet, uh, what ornaments are at the waist, and how turban is made. So we focus on different limbs. So he also gives how different limbs are different aspects of this material world. How arms are represented by demigods, uh, mouth is represented by fire, uh, and like that he gives different veins. Everything is given in the at the end of the first chapter of second canto. So now moving further, Sukadeva Goswami now explains, like, okay, he has explained the Virat Rupa, which is meant for the attached yogis, means the persons who is too much attached to the sense, too much attached to sense enjoyment, and still he believes in the personal aspect of the Lord. See, uh, basically, if a mother has two children, mm, and one child is very sober and very nice and very good behaved, well behaved, and other child is very naughty and very too much of agile in nature, means uh, he's he is very mischievous. So it is the duty of the child to take care of the both children, right? So for the child who is well behaved, she treats in a one way, and for the child who is very mischievous, she has to take in a different care. She has to take care of that child in a different manner. So in the same way here, attached yogi means he still has the material, the sense of material enjoyment. So for them to develop, purify themselves, uh, they have to take shelter of Virat Rupa of the Lord. First, they have to meditate on the Virat Rupa of the Lord, seeing the Lord's form in the material creation, and seeing Lord's energies in as a different aspect of the material world. Mm. So after explaining all these things, in this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami also explains about different types of yogis and how they achieve the perfection, how they achieve liberation from this material world. So, and finally he establishes how bhakti is the best of all processes in this chapter. So we'll see how it is, how he presents it. So in this chapter, he first he gives um, how one can perfect life through the Ashtanga Yoga process, and he also refutes the Karma Kanda process, because see, if you want to start your spiritual life, you have to first thing is the materialistic enjoyment or sense gratification is not the goal of life. That we have to understand. Then if you understand that, then your spiritual life starts. But the karma kanda process, like a karma kanda, what karma kanda says, if you perform this yajna, you will go to Sargaloka. If you perform that activity, you will get this benediction. And because Parishit Maharaj is at the end of his life, so he can perform any yajna and he go to Sargaloka also. So he first Sukadeva Goswami, he straightforward, he rejects the karma kanda aspect, and he says one should start meditating on the super soul. And also he gives the process of meditation, the Paramatma and Virarupa meditation, and how different yogis achieve different liberation. And also the process of Ashtanga Yoga, will summarize this. And then after explaining all these things, he establishes the sadhana bhakti or bhakti as the highest. So are you all clear? Am I too fast?
No, Prabhu, good.
Okay. So first he will start. Okay. First of all, he rejects the karma kanda process. Karma kanda process is process for a dying person is it is waste of time, because a person who believes in karma kanda process means pleasing any demigod or going to Sargaloka, or any other lokas, Maharloka, Tapoloka, Janoloka, or even Satyaloka also, it is waste of time, because even the demigods have uh, they are going to fall down after some time if they are not pure devotees of Krishna. So uh, any other material aspect, even attaining a better life, even attaining any material prosperity or anything is rebuked, because that is not the goal of human form of life. That can be achieved through in any form of the life, but not in the human form of life. So in this human form of life, we should only work. Our endeavor should be minimal on the material platform, and we should put more effort on the spiritual platform. We have to live with minimum necessities, means simple living and high thinking. That's what Prabhupada stresses. Okay, so if with simple living, if one worship the super soul, one can achieve liberation. By simple living, he will not develop too much hankering for sense gratification. When his senses are quiet, when his senses are uh, undisturbed by the material aspects or material objects of mental enjoyment, he will develop a taste in spiritual uh, practice or spiritual advancement, and he will uh, put more effort in the spiritual progress, to progress spiritually and achieve the perfection, and even he can attain liberation. So, but the gross materialists, they will reject the path of liberation and choose karma kanda. Mm. So somebody will say, okay, why are you going to temple? Why are you wasting your time chanting and meditation? These all has to be done at the end of life. Bhagavad Gita has to read. We have to read when we are old, when we don't have anything to do. That so that kind of people, they actually they waste their life. So Sukadeva Goswami initially he rejects that path, means that human form of life or the time in the at the time of death is not meant for any material enjoyment. Karma kanda process is rebuked. And then he described the super soul, how uh, the super soul is the object of meditation for the unattached yogi, means a yogi who is free from all the sense enjoyment, all the propensities for sense enjoyment. Yeah. So for him, the object of meditation is super soul or Paramatma within the heart. Okay. He describes that Paramatma is there within your heart. He resides in the region of the heart. He is like 8 inches. He has 4 hands. Yeah. He describes the mouth, eyes, garments, ornaments, and also he precisely describes, because personal as he personal aspects of the Krishna he describes here. And then feet, and then all these personal aspects, because just give 1 minute. Sorry. So Sukadeva Goswami explains the form of the Lord residing in the heart in a very like with in detailed description how his mouth, eyes, garments, ornaments, headdress, earrings, lotus feet. So basically, when the Lord is there, everything that is decorating the Lord is also spiritual in nature, is of same nature of the Lord. It is not like material, because if you see ourselves, our dress is separate from ourselves, because our dress is material in nature. If our dress is lost, or if our dress is or any ornament or anything that is decorating us is only material in nature, but everything that is decorating the Lord is also spiritual in nature. It is also considered as tadiya. So, and then his pastimes and smiling glances and shining eyebrows showing mercy. Okay. He says that one should meditate on his form until mind remains on a concentrated state. So Sukadeva Goswami says, if as long as your mind has the ability to concentrate on him, you should meditate on him. Then after saying that, this form of the Lord is the Paramatma meditation. This is the Paramatma meditation, the Lord in the heart. This meditation is for unattached yogi. Means, so this they fix their mind on the form of the Lord in the process of dharana, and then progress from dharana to dhyana. So what is the difference between dharana and dhyana? In dharana, we will be seeing the Lord in like just in the as whole form, means like seeing the Lord as whole means you see when we take darshan, we just first see the Lord's form as how he overall he appears. Mm. So then from when we move to dhyana, then the yogi meditates on each limb, on each limb of the Lord very precisely, and he will be very meditative on his process. Okay, this that process is for unattached yogis, means the yogi who is free from the sense enjoyment. But the Virat Rupa is meditation is for attached yogis. Attached yogi means who is not free from the sense enjoyment, who wants to enjoy, who still have the enjoying propensity. So such kind of persons, if a person is not developed in devotional service, inclination towards the Lord, he should meditate on the Virat Rupa of the Lord at the end of his prescribed duties. Means he has to perform his prescribed duties, and also he should meditate on the Lord, because he don't have the ability to oh, uh, completely focus on the personal aspect of the Lord. So they can meditate on the Virat Rupa form of the Lord. And afterwards, Sukadeva Goswami describes the practical and process living of attached yogi. Okay, so uh, so uh, so advanced yogi. So okay, practice and the process of living an advanced yogi. Sukadeva Goswami describes how an advanced yogi he gradually develops in the process of yoga from one step to another step, and at the end of his life, how he leaves his body. He gives here the summary. Okay, so he describes how he practices yama. Yama means the don'ts, and niyama means do's. Yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. That is Ashtanga Yoga, the process of 8 aspects. Okay, so after successfully doing all those things, after completing samadhi, he will enter into a stage of labdopashanti, or a stage which is beyond the reach of time, and which is above the even the time cannot influence on him. Hmm? So that's why if you see some yogis, they can sit in meditation for years. Like like we recently heard a news, right? One yogi, he was meditating for like 500 years also. He was in his jiva samadhi. So like the time factor will not act on the yogis who has reached the stage of labdopashanti. And in the stage of Labdopashanti, he merges his mind into intelligence, his intelligence into Jiva, and Jiva into the super soul. And description of stages of Labdhopashanti are already there. I already did it. So, so after the stage of Labdhopashanti, the yogi will attain the Brahman realization, means the impersonal Brahman realization. So yogi performs Satchakra Yoga and attains direct liberation also. Means Satchakra Yoga means how he lift the Kundalini from these are different circles. I'm not going to go in details into this. This is the process. This is the one of the process of yoga process in which how a yogi rises his Kundalini Shakti and then he closes all his uh, Navarandras and then he forces to leave the soul from the Brahmarandra and he will attain the whatever the destination he wants to achieve. So this is Shatchakra Yoga process. So after that, that is one process means that is the path followed by the unattached or advanced yogi means a yogi who is free from the material contamination. But for a yogi or Kramamukta Viratrupa meditation, attached yogi who desires to enjoy, he will take up the path of Kramamukti. Okay, Kramamukti also follow the same path. He also follows the same path of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. And then at the end of his life, he will not leave his subtle body. He along with his subtle body, he goes to different planets and tries to enjoy there. So, and a yogi has passes through different planetary systems, different lokas, and then after he enjoys, after he goes into because when he was in the material world, he has a desire how Sargaloka looks like, how Maharloka will be, what will be the what kind of pleasures we'll have in the Brahma Loka. So that you this so he because he's a devotee, because he is yogi, he's meditating on the supreme personality of Godhead and but he wants to see because just like a son wanted to see the wealth of his father, wanted to see different assets of his father. So like his father has different factories, different companies, and son who is at who is dear to his father, he wants to see the properties of his father or you want to at least enjoy the properties of his father. So and he will father will allow it. So in the same way when a attached yogi, when he has this propensity to enjoy, he wants to see, he wants to pass through different lokas. So he wants to go through Sargaloka and he stays there and he enjoys the comforts of Sargaloka for some time and then he develops distaste for them. Okay, there is no pleasure in this. Then from Sargaloka he moves to another loka. So from first he starts with Vaishvanar Loka. I will come to this point, okay? And he passes through different lokas and enjoys the pleasures there and finds and the super soul, the Paramatma within the heart, will give the experience of all the lokas and gives him the realization that there is no happiness here, and then he will promote him to the next loka and then gives the experiences there also. Like that he will promote him to different lokas, and then when he finally realizes that even in Brahmaloka there is no happiness, even Brahmaloka is not permanent, even Brahmaloka is not the ultimate goal of my life, then he will be promoted to the he will be given liberation. Hmm? Finally when that when yogi he finally pierces the five material coverings of the universe and enters into five material coverings, pierces even false ego, Mahatattva and Pradhan, and finally yogi merges into Brahman. We all know, right, how universal coverings are there. I will explain to you when the universal the aspect of planetary systems comes, okay? So these two paths explained in the Vedas also, because how a yogi takes in different paths. These two paths are also explained in the Vedas. That's what Shukadeva Goswami says. Okay. So now here it's a chart that is developed by some devotee. Here we can see how a attached yogi or unattached yogi will go. Okay. So they will start from here, Yama. So attached yogi will start with Yama. Yama means don'ts. he will restrain from doing he will restrain from don'ts, and then follow do's niyama, and then uh, attains perfection on the asana, and then uh, and then performs pranayama to develop sense control, and then pratyahara means ability to withdraw the senses from the objects of sense enjoyment. Okay, and then when he withdraw the senses from the object of, then he comes to the stage of dharana. So in the dharana stage, dharanashraya, if you have desires, you go to dharanashraya as virat rupa. If you don't have desires, your dharanashraya is paramatma within your heart. Okay, so like after that, for a attached this is the first we'll discuss the path of unattached yogi. Okay, so the unattached yogi, his dharanashraya is paramatma. So this unattached yogi from dharanashraya, he will come to dhyana, he will directly come to the stage of meditation, and then to samadhi, and then to brahman realization. And after brahman realization, he performs shat chakra yoga, uplifts the prana from the muladhara chakra to agni chakra, and finally attains the liberation. And the how what is the path of attached yogi? First, his dharnashraya is virat rupa, and he has desires. Yes, okay. Then he go to Vaishvanar loka. Then he stays there some time, and then he realizes that there is no pleasure here. Then he go to Shinshumara loka. Again from that loka to Mahar loka, that loka to Brahma loka, and then after that Brahmaloka, he sees that there is no pleasure here. Okay, so he changes from earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then pierces false ego, pierces Mahatattva, pierces Pradhana, and then finally attains liberation. So these are the two paths followed by the two yogis, attached yogi and unattached yogi. Attached yogi has to take a detour path where which his process will be little longer. Yeah, like maybe it can take some yugas also in some cases. So that is the power of sense enjoyment. Okay, so and both will attain the liberation at the end. So after explaining all these two processes, how yogis will attain liberation, then Shukadeva Goswami says, establishing sadhana, now Shukadeva Goswami establishes sadhana bhakti as the best of all paths. Okay, sadhana bhakti is the most auspicious. This is the verdict of Brahma the after he scrutinizingly studied Vedas for 3 times, because these yogis, their own even though they had this mm, uh, respect for the form of the Lord, they realize that the Lord has form. They will only reach to the platform of Brahman. So, but here Brahma, who is the Pitama of entire material universe, his realization is he Shukadeva Goswami is saying Brahmaji he studied Vedas for 3 times, and then he realized that Bhakti Yoga process is the best of all yogas. And then like we that Bhakti Yogi can how to see the Lord, because he perceives the perceiving the presence of Lord in all jivas. And then perform sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is nothing but hearing, glorifying, and remembering the Lord, and always and everywhere. So, like constantly remembering the Lord, hearing, like performing Navavida Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So, such a simple process, by such simple process, a devotee will purify his intelligence. So, what is the difference between a attached yogi and unattached yogi? Attached yogi has his intelligence still attracted towards the objects of material sense gratification. But unattached yogi has his intelligence, like he has restrained his intelligence from not to meditate on the objects of sense enjoyment. So, but in the case of bhakta, by bhakta, like a devotee, by just simply hearing, glorifying, and remembering the Lord, he will purify his intelligence very quickly, and very easily also. And through by doing so, he attains this very much higher much higher stage of spiritual what do you call spirit back to what it ultimate goal, much higher goal. So Shukadeva Goswami also says there are two main benefits of sadhana bhakti. It will purify the polluted aim of life. You like if you have some like if for suppose if a devotee can have material desires when he first comes into the process of bhakti yoga, but when he gradually engages himself in the process of bhakti, his his material desires will go away eventually, and he will become sober and he will become completely situated in the self, in worshipping the supreme personality of Godhead without any ulterior motives, and he is fully satisfied performing bhakti, ahaituki apratihata, means without interruption, uh, without motivation and without interruption. So when a devotee performs bhakti in such a manner, he easily purifies his heart and his polluted aim of life, and then attains the lotus feet of the Lord. So bhakti now is the process and the goal simultaneously. So a devotee does not have to endeavor on focusing dharana, dhyana, samadhi, yama, niyama, everything. He just have to perform this simple aspect of hearing, glorifying, and remembering the Lord. Because by doing so, one can purify his intelligence. What why? Sorry, what is the different? Why? How can we purify? Because like there are two types of anarthas. Okay, that is subtle anarthas and the gross anarthas. Subtle anarthas are what gross anarthas are what we want to enjoy something which is not belong, like illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating, like that is gross intoxication. And subtle desires are um, so desires for profit, desires for adoration and distinction. So this like this propensity to enjoy independent of the Lord is the root cause of the material existence. That is what keeping us in this material world. So when a devotee engages himself in the bhakti, his his mind and senses are fully satisfied with the process of hearing and glorifying and remembering the Lord. Like if his all his desires, gross and subtle, are fully satisfied when when his heart is fully satisfied, when his senses are fully satisfied performing the spiritual activity of the Lord, then he doesn't have to do any separate endeavor to control them, to focus on dharana, or to focus on any object of meditation or something like that, because his process himself is the process of meditation, and it will eventually take him to the back to the spiritual world. So that is the short summary of this chapter. So if you have any questions or comments, you can discuss. I think I was too fast, I feel. Any questions, Mataji, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I do not have any question, Prabhuji.
Were you able to follow, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
It was a little bit dry topic, right?
Yeah, that yoga process, that chart you showed, right?
We don't have that much of much depth into it, but it's good to know that there is something like this. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. After
Prabhu,
you showing the chart,
yeah.
it's easier to understand.
Prabhu, can you
actually.
put the complete chart one more time over there? You want to take a picture of it? So
You can take the screenshot, Prabhu. Snipping shoot. I took it already. So I can send it.
Okay, Prabhu.
I can send you if you want. That's okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have any questions, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. We'll end
Hare
it here.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.